What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. It is me, Trash Salsa, and today I'm going to be showing you how to varnish your vintage box fan. This procedure will work on fans like this, or even like a Lakewood, and it should work on 90s Lascos. Pretty much any shaded pull motor from around this era, it'll work. So, this intro clip here is actually recorded a few days after this varnish was done to this fan. So, as you can see, it'll not buzz anymore. Now, if you've been following my channel, you'll know this fan's been buzzing for no reason. So when we turn it on high, the buzz is now gone. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I do not have a before clip of this buzzing. I technically can just pull one from my channel, but... Alright, without further ado, here is high. Yes, I know it's buzzing. I don't know. If your fan is buzzing, you'll know because it'll usually be kind of obnoxious or it'll sound not right. Your fan should not make any other sounds besides a startup sound or just the blades moving. So, and I do have some videos on my channel talking about buzzing fans anyway, so if you're curious, they're on there. So just some important things to address, which is why I'm hoping that you're not skipping this intro, because I want to explain a few things. So to do the varnish, you're going to want to do this outside because you don't want to breathe the fumes in. You can do it in your house, but I very highly do not recommend that because that's not going to end well. And you don't want to breathe in anything or get the varnish on anything like furniture or anything else because it'll ruin everything. So, and try not to get it on your skin either. I know in the clips you could see that I touched the windings a few times. That's okay, but like don't spray it on your hands or anything stupid. I would recommend to wear gloves. I actually ran out of my vinyl gloves, so that's why I didn't wear any in this video, but whatever. The varnish that I'm using is the spray-on, if the stupid thing will focus, spray-on clear insulating varnish. The thing is EL600. It's kind of hard to find this now. I got this one locally, or like an hour away from where I live, so I know it's pretty hard to find. They do have a website, and I think you can order it off there, and Amazon may or may not carry it. So, there's different types of varnish as well. There's like brush-on varnish and pour-on, which typically is only used in the factory. You can use brush-on too, but that's only if like you have really bad windings. I wouldn't recommend that. This fan had just a little buzz, so I used spray-on. But, yeah. But like if you go to do this procedure and you have the spray-on and this doesn't work and it's still buzzing, or it's buzzing but not as bad, you're probably going to want to use brush-on, which I don't have experience with, so unfortunately I can't really help you with that one. But so yeah, you obviously know the fan runs a little bit better. The varnish again is a little scary. Don't get it on your skin, don't breathe it in, and do it outside. And also don't do it in like 40-degree weather either, because it's not really going to work. Since this is pressure and gas, it's gonna come out doofy. So, but also it's probably not good for the windings either, and this also will have a hard time drying. So make sure you do it like minimum of 70-degree weather. So that's 70 degrees in Fahrenheit, that is. So yeah, it went pretty well. You want to use 10-minute intervals, like do a layer on the front or something of the windings, and then 10 minutes to let that kind of start drying. And then, yeah. And then after you do the varnish, don't really run the fan. You can test it, but don't like immediately start using the fan because the fan will give off varnish fumes. So you don't want to breathe that in either. I made that mistake once, and I almost, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just bad. I got nauseous and was going to throw up and all these things happened. So that's why I don't want to breathe in the fumes, especially after you're done, like I previously just said. So, like I said, after you varnish the fan, don't run it for a while. I would minimum run it the next day because you want that varnish to cure and, really get in there and dry and become one. So, I didn't run the fan until the day afterwards, which I ran out the window to air it out because it stinks. You're going to want to run the fan a few times afterwards to air it out. I think I will mention this later on in the video. So, yeah. So, let's just get into it. Ayo, voiceover.
Alright, removing the knob and the switch so the motor can be easily moved around. Alright, removing the nuts on the cabinet. Look at that editing. Then we're going to take the motor apart. First, remove the nuts, as always. Don't lose them because they're going to be extremely hard to find, and then you can't do anything else afterwards. So keep an eye on where they are. That was easy. I'll take the rear plate off. Take note and maybe even a picture of what your motor looks like, so that way if you pull a wire or damage something, you'll know. And but that shouldn't happen if you're careful like me, right? So there's the front plate, and I'm gonna tap it with a screwdriver to remove it because sometimes you can get stuck to the stator. And then I'm carefully gonna pull it off the rotor / shaft so I don't ruin anything or scratch anything too much. As long as your shaft isn't rusted, you should be okay. Then I'm going to put some cardboard and recycling around, not to be stupid, but also I don't want to get varnish on the cabinet and ruin the paint. Put some tissues around the wire so I don't damage the insulation. And then I'm going to do 1 to 3 squirts of varnish on each winding roughly. Does not need to be as calculated as that, but whatever you think works. And I'm not going to speed this part up because this is the girth of the tutorial, right? This is the actual procedure. This is the actual whatever. Getting a tissue for some reason. I'm guessing this was the black fumes. I don't really remember. But yeah. I'm squirting the sides of the windings rather than just the top because you don't want to have the inside of the windings buzzing or having any problems. So just to get the whole thing, I'm doing that. The varnish will slowly kind of pass through the windings anyway. So when I go to flip it over, you might see that 1 or 2 windings might look wet. And that's why, because the varnish will pass through. I would have loved the audio here, but it was just cars going by and wind. So sure you don't want to hear that. Alright, this is the second coat. I did 2 coats on both sides, so that was the second coat for I think that's the rear side of the stator. Doesn't really matter. Alright, now I'm going to flip it over. Kind of surprised the tissue didn't really get stuck to it as much. I would use plastic wrap next time. I just use tissues out of laziness. And I'm going to wet wrap the wires. And I'm going to block the fuse area as well. Like that. You don't really need to do this, but it's just kind of quality of life and also not to damage anything else. Because what if something happens and you're like, oh, well, only if I remembered to do this. It's kind of a stupid mistake you don't want to make. This part I'm going to speed up because we already saw that. So this is the other side getting varnished. There was 2 layers of that. I don't know if I got the other layer on video. So this is kind of weird. I took the floss because in some spots the windings were loose. Like there was a wire loose. Which also, if you noticed, when you take the motor apart, touch the windings and see if there's any like stray copper wires that kind of hang out. Not in between the windings, but on the windings. If anything feels loose, just like lightly rub your thumb or something. And if there's 1 or 2 wires loose or something on the windings, then that's going to be your target. So make sure you aim for those mostly when you do the varnish, because that's probably what's causing the buzzing. The floss here was to kind of reinforce that, and the varnish would kind of stick it to the winding to make it nice and whatever. Normally you would take the floss and tie it around the winding, but there was no space to do it. So here I'm showing the front and rear plates and the rotor after I cleaned them. Alright, taking this off, and there is the stator. Make sure the tape is not peeling off. Look at that bad boy, all nice and shiny looking. And the stupid thumbs up at the end. It's perfect. Alright, putting that there. 3-in-1 blue can for the oil, not red can. Red can will ruin your bearings. Do not do it. If you want to, go ahead and find out the hard way. Zoom spot also works. The reason why I'm not using it for this motor is because this motor is a little bit beefier and I want a little bit of a thicker oil. And between the 3-in-1 and Zoom spout, 3-in-1 is the slightly thicker one. Dowsing the wicks and the bearings and the shaft, so that way when I put everything together, there's no dry spots. Then you'll see me slide up and down on the front plate like that, so that way I can make sure I capture some oil in the bearing. Dropping the bolts through, and then we'll tighten them. I'm squishing the motor together to make sure it's whatever. Usually you have to do that, otherwise it won't work. Check for misalignment, that's what that was. There's the 3/8 wrench. When you go to tighten the nuts, do them in a rotational style like this. Do small rotations and a like circular, whatever, like that. Don't just tighten one and then the next one, because you'll have misalignment and then your shaft's going to lock up. For the same reason, I'm going to smack the shaft, not because I'm a barbarian, but I need to align the bearings, and if I don't do that, I'm going to have a bad time and the motor's going to lock up. If your motor is locked up for whatever reason, check for misalignment and loose/too tight bolts, and like I said, smack the shaft. There's other videos on the channel of me taking motors apart and talking about this stuff, so it's whatever. I also have some videos coming out where I'm doing some other motor procedures, and I'll talk about that stuff. So then now I'm putting the nuts on whatever. You do not need to do the method for this.
Alright, well, we're in the bedroom now. The voiceover is over, if that makes any sense. So now it's just real time and real me talking. So I did test run this before this little clip here, and I think I solved all the problems, knock on wood. So just for some context, and in case you did not watch the restoration video, on high speed it was buzzing, and on medium speed it was making like this really weird kind of grinding, clicking noise. I don't know how to describe it. It was something to do with the bearings being dry. And the two problems I had, I kind of erased. So let's hopefully it stays that way. Luckily I was smart enough to run this overnight on low already. So I already kind of got the temperature and all the stats I need. So if I need to directly compare, I can. So, yeah. Anyway, here is high. Medium. See? It doesn't make that noise anymore. It used to make a bunch of racket. Here's low. The cabinet, just like my Cal Air, is not 100% made right. So it squeaks. Back up to high. Off. So, another thing I want to mention, you will more than likely lose spin down time. That is without a doubt. This fan, it looks like I got lucky and looks like I didn't lose much time off the spin down, but as you can see, the spin down is pretty bad. It is normal. Anytime I do anything with motor procedures, usually I will lose the spin down time for a little while. It's very rare, like this fan actually. I had to do a motor procedure on it a few years ago, and then the spin down got better, but that's just because I had a drastic misalignment problem, whereas this didn't have that, so it was okay before already. So just a little bit of warning, if you're like, oh no, I ruined my fan, it doesn't spin down long enough. Well, it's normal, so make sure you expect that you're gonna lose a little bit of performance temporarily. That is, you're not, the fan's not tainted, but down the line, it'll be like this for a little while. I don't know how long exactly. It depends on the motor, but typically it's until I oil the fan again, then it'll kind of thin itself out and be okay. So that's just that. I think this fan did have oil problems that might have made sense to why the green oil happened, but whatever. I think it's okay now. Hopefully this holds up. Because for all I know, tomorrow those sounds can come back on medium. And my Toastmaster has that problem too, but I don't know how to get rid of it. So if this fan doesn't ever make that noise again, then I guess I kind of know how to get rid of the sound. So that is that. Yeah, it seems loose. Seems seems not terrible, but whatever. So just expect that you're gonna lose a little bit of spin down. Another big thing, I think I'm gonna record an intro for this that's gonna talk about this. So, like I said, right now, I haven't even recorded an intro or done anything. I just went outside, recorded all that footage, and then now I'm sitting in the bedroom. I have not edited this yet, obviously, because I'm still recording, and I have not done the intro or outro yet. So I might seem like an idiot right now at this exact second, but that's just because I haven't got to the other stuff yet. So I don't think there's really anything else to talk about. I will mention it's going to smell bad. So it's going to smell like spray paint, varnish, chemicals. Do not run the fan to anywhere you're going to do whatever. It will give you a headache and it will make you nauseous. I learned that the hard way the first few times I did varnish. So quick warning on that. So if you're going to run the fan, which you're going to need to air this out. Now, here's another thing to add on to that. Yeah, I definitely need to make an intro that explains this. When you just do this, so right now, I'm going to leave the fan alone for like a day. I just want the fan to recover. You know, you think of it like surgery, right? When someone has surgery, they need to recover, right? They can't just like go back to what they're doing immediately, right? I can't just immediately just say, oh, this fan's done, it's okay now. I'm going to give it time for that varnish to cure and dry and really get in there and finish what it needs to do, right? If I just put this right on the line right now and if I'm not patient, you know, you just don't want to make a mistake. So I like to leave this for at least the rest of the day, plus I'm not going to do anything else with it anyway. And then maybe tomorrow I'll do some more stuff with it, like run it a little bit. When you go to run it somewhere where it's not going to smell. I usually run it out the window. That's a good method to use. But don't run it in your bedroom or anything, because it will still smell. Even if you're running out the window, it will still smell in your bedroom, because not all the air is going to go outside. So like if there's somewhere you don't care about, you can run it like in your basement or whatever. If you have a spare bedroom like that no one uses, like a guest bedroom, you can run it in there a little bit with like the door shut, and just make sure you have like your central air on or something and air out the house. So that way you can get rid of the smell. I don't know how long it takes. I've had all sorts of fans where I don't even need to run them. They don't even smell like varnish. And I've had some fans that still smell like varnish, like the Robeson. I varnished that, I don't even know how many months ago, and it still stinks. It just depends. You normally need to run the fan at least 3 to 4 times for like a few hours or so. And then just give it a little while. So most of my fans are stored downstairs, so next time I bring up the next fan, usually the smell is gone anyway. But I don't know what your situation is, so that's a little bit on that. Don't run the fan or use it for your use if it's smelling bad or making any weird noises or obviously anything like that. So I don't think there's really anything else to say. I don't think I really need to get the grills on video. I don't think you care. So if you guys enjoyed this video, then I'll see you guys in the next one. And if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments and I will reply.